or whoever watches this. People say everybody. Not everybody watches this. Okay, a little overdue. I didn't feel well a few days, and this is just to complete the dual series of a mental well-being according to the parshas of the week. We're beginning, we'll find towards the second half of Vayechi, but I didn't get a chance to do anything in English of vaigash. What is vaigash? What's the idea of vaigash? Everything we have in the Torah are not just stories. They're not just tale tales. They are actually, besides being secrets and a spiritual and physical history of the Jewish people and the whole world, actually, it is more than that. It tells us in hints and ideas all sorts of secrets and directives for well-being. What is then the directive for this parsha? We're talking about vaigash, which for myself, incidentally, is most importantly. It's like Hasidic birthday. At 31 years ago, we came to the Rebbe, Lubavitcher Rebbe in Crown Heights, and things took a great turn for the better. Vaigash, he went forth. The Torah tells us a whole convoluted story. People think that all this nonsense that people have, all these series with fake heroes and bad actors and actresses, it's pretty funny, started today. No, it didn't. Here we have the story of the Jewish people coming to Egypt. All kinds of things. Yosef says to his brothers, go up, bring my brother Binyamin. They don't know that it's Yosef. He sends them, he puts money back in their bags, takes it out, orders to put his silver cup in there. A whole upside down situation, much better than anything any loser in Hollywood could write. No, I don't have any respect for the social media movies. I think they guide us to terrible stuff. Violence is being idolized and minimized, and I have no idea so many movies of the so-called bully being punished. That's aside the point. The point I want to make is vaigash. When a situation arises that someone else, part of you, because we are all attached, is in danger, or at least apparent danger, you don't hesitate. You don't wait for something to happen. You prevent it. Moreover, it is a self-elevation to the higher level of spirituality, which are called the godly soul. Yehuda came to himself. He became himself by vouching for his youngest brother, Binyamin. Not only in the sense of doing the right thing, supposedly, because the idea of Mesiras Nefesh, or taking care of another Jew or another person, is not just, or animals, it's not just what you can do on your, just another thing on your order of the day. It's far stronger than that. The idea is that our connectedness causes all of us to be affected by the other person's situation. It may not seem so, and the culture around us, in the what we call the Western culture, teaches us that you should only care for yourself and your so-called goals and all kinds of invented artificial winners and what have you. The point really is, Yehuda said to his brother, to his father, I will vouch for this son, for Binyamin. He was the king. He was a decision maker. His influence was on everyone. People are not on the same spiritual level. Rulership, masterships, kingship is not something everyone possesses. It's given by God. Either you have it, which is few people, or you don't. We have today elected politicians or even royal family or just ordinary people who God placed in a certain place, but they don't necessarily have those qualities, especially not in politics. Politics is not about what doing, servicing. Politics is about self-care and self-indulgence. But Yehuda was a true king. And because he said not to kill Yosef, but to sell him, Yosef wasn't killed. And because now he says to Yosef, not knowing that he's Yosef, I vouch for the boy. If you don't let him go, I will kill you and Paro, and we will destroy Mitzrayim. Now Yosef knew his older brother. He knew that he was the warrior. Not a legendary warrior, not storytellers, but the strongest of all. So what did he do? He tried to show his own force. And then Yosef and Yehuda says, no, I'm not going to go up and see what happens to my father when Binyamin doesn't come back. Either you give him away, you let him go, or you're going to pay. There were certain signs on Yehuda when he was about to do. He was roaring like a lion. He's likened to a lion by the Torah. There's certain physical changes. His right eye started bleeding and stuff, and all of a sudden Yosef was, and yet when Yehuda rode, even Yosef fell off his chair. Let alone the Egyptians were ordinary people. Yosef saw that he touches the deepest level of Yehuda's soul to protect Binyamin, who is his own brother, not just half-brother. He broke down, cried, and revealed himself to his brother. Why? Because he saw that there was real brotherhood among them. There were no issues, there were no questions, there were no jealousies. He was straightforward, self-sacrifice for his younger brother. And the truth to be told is that Yehuda was stopped in the right second because he was already turning over to a mighty destructive warrior. That is nothing can stop him in his path. This idea of dedication to someone else caused Yosef, who was already in the non-godly world of Egypt and was dealing with the whole world as the one who distributed the food, he realized that these brothers have repented for what they have done, and also tells them, Hashem sent me, God sent me here, don't worry about it. The same thing here. Even though we're self-centered, we think our period is very special. It's not. It's always been like that. Whether it's events in Israel, whether it's events outside of it, whether the events even now in the United States or whatever it is. Darkness has always been trying to overrule. And now we have people who have behaved in the most non-democratic way, allowing all kinds of bad elements into society, trying to say that anyone who opposes them is going against democracy. First of all, democracy is not such a great thing, as we see. A lot of improprieties, a lot of lack of morality, a lot of bad stuff is going around because there are no proper rules and no real punishment for a lot of things, severe things. This is no politics. When there is a need to preserve goodness, there has to be a sharp as a razor action. When evil raises its head, or some danger befalls one of our own, from something which was inexplicable, there was no questions. There are no questions. It's the same way when a patient arrives in the hospital. Oh, doctors, no matter where they are, who they are, try to do their best to save that patient, no matter who the patient is. Therefore, it is extremely vital. It's vital, paramount for everyone to realize when we start dealing with things which are not right, they have to be cut off. Yehuda believed that his younger brother is in severe danger and he could do something about it. The problem becomes very bad when the supposed leaders of a society don't do anything about things. Violence is rampant, murderers have to be protected, people with terrible deviations, I don't know how anybody could be proud of having their deviation like this, have to be protected. You can't say anything about bad stuff. I was blocked on Facebook because of making a remark that Arabs in Israel, a lot of them are bad criminals. They are. Now, if an Arab would put a terrible thing against Israel, which they do all the time, it's not going to be barred. You're allowed to abuse the Jews all you want. But all I said was, yeah, whatever it is was, rape, killing, some Arab ran over a child and ran away, that's okay, no problem. I don't care being blocked or not being blocked. It's not going to change anything. But things have to be clear. The light of godliness has to be protected, has to be brought forth, and you cannot stand idly by. That's the lesson. When someone sees wrongdoing or something that is not good about to take place, they may be wrong. But it's better to be wrong and act than to not do anything. Someone says something and does not intervene, does not do anything, they'll culprit just as much as the person who actually did something not right. Therefore, the moral of our Parshas Vaigash is that we are all guarantors of each other. And we cannot let it go. And we have no right to leave the other person, in this case, Yehuda and Binyamin, without our support. It's not going to work. And therefore, it's important for all of us to learn the lesson that being so intertwined with each other, everything we do has an effect. Here, the effect of Yehuda's plea, he also pleaded, not just threatened, and his steadfastness and his strength brought about unity among the brothers. Today, that's the main point of my new venture. The whole, I don't know what you call it, world that has cameras and microphones is busy criticizing someone else. To me, it's not serious. You elect a politician, knowing what he or she is, and then you sit and criticize him. Are you any better? Are the reporters sitting with their fingers any moral supposedly standing on high moral ground? They're not. We have to change the paradigm. We have to use what we have for good. Yehuda wasn't protecting a criminal. He was bringing a righteous person. His role was a protector. And he did it. The same goes for every one of us. There's so many whining, so many people whining and crying, complaining, and only self-centered and only thinking about themselves, demonstrating against a government that wasn't even formed yet. It tells you that they have done something very wrong and they're afraid to be found out. There is so much darkness in the world, so many forces against goodness, that we have to be more together. We have to discuss how we create the social change. The Rebbe Rebbe wanted the social change by instilling goodness to everyone. Whether the people will follow all the Jewish laws, if they're Jews, or the seven Noahide commandments, if they're non-Jews. The world has to be filled back with light. And eventually that light will bring us the Redeemer, Mashiach, who is not by coincidence a descendant of Yehuda. To sum it all up, let's change the paradigm. Let's bring goodness. And that is only done by action. There's a lot of names. I'm over 60. I've heard so much nonsense, so many things, so many excuses for inappropriate behavior. It doesn't hold up anymore. And another point, we have to also affect all the movie makers. Hollywood, which is an infested place with only bad, inappropriate behavior, terrible movies, terrible actings, emanating horrible messages out into our world. We have to change all that too. Anyone who can speak should speak positively. I'm not going to mention names, but there's somebody very famous that is also talking, this is wrong, this is right, that's not the way to go. We just have to deal with the light. Yehuda just moved forward and said, no, he's my brother, I vouch for him. You want him? Either you take me instead of him, or you'll fight me, for which you have no chance. I wish everybody a wonderful winter, so far so good in morale, and that we will see a beginning of a new era full of goodness, light, and unity.